Viewers, dear fans of Crossviews on CMTV, we hope most of you are watching us live on YouTube. That is CMTV Buzz. The Buzz is BUZZ. And as I said, we have Dr. Busi, a psychologist from the University of Boya, and a die-hearted member of the Cameroon Renaissance movement, Mr. Njomo Cyril, who are making things to happen here. And at this time, we shall be talking on the Anglophone crisis, where there has been a lot of condemnation on the military and civilian, given their excesses as far as this crisis is concerned. And so we shall also be looking at their various reactions to these excesses. Maybe the reaction of the government, the reaction of international bodies, the reaction of individuals in this program. Now, this time I'll begin with Dr. Busi. Looking at the Anglophone crisis, we have had a lot of condemnation, what the military is doing, what the civilians are doing. There's so much killings that are taking place in the northwest and southwest region. It has started extending even to the French zone of Cameroon. Now, what's your take about all this?
Thank you very much, sir. Various right groups have talked on the excesses of the killings in the northwest and southwest. I've seen cases where civilians have died, separatists have died, and the military have died. And we have seen cases where in the Ngabo incident, where children, women died, children at the age of 5, young children, and I call that infants even. Children at their early developmental stage. That was painful, psychologically, the pain, the anxiety, and the pain that was the post-traumatic stress these people are still going through. Despite the Ngabo incident, government investigation took place. And to today, Mr. Moderator, we don't really know what has happened to a greater extent, despite the fact that we know of some cases where some of these military people were taken to court, the military court. And I want to say that recently, separatists have caused their own pain on the people. The military has caused its own pain on the people. We have seen places where houses have been set ablaze, and where most Anglophones are refugees, and they are in Nigeria. Most of them are internally displaced. We know of situations where on our day-to-day life, people are asking us for money for food here in Boya. To say that most Anglophones also have moved to the French regions, and they are not even safe there, and their children are being franconized with the French education, which we are fighting against in the northwest and southwest. We have seen situation here in Moyoka, where a woman was brutally killed through some kind of through coup, and it was a bizarre lack of sanity, where human rights, people have gone against human rights, both the military and separatist leaders. We have seen cases where people's hands have been chopped, workers of CDC, even common man, where ransoms have been collected from people, and international, where hospitals have been set ablaze. This is decrying, Mr. Moderator. People have decried that, and the pain is still too much. I have seen cases where locally made bombs have been made. To say that the Anglophone crisis is not more a crisis but a war, whether we like it or not, is already a war, because people are suffering, and the post-traumatic stress is too much, and people are dying. And when two elephants are fighting, it is the grass that suffers. And the common man in the northwest and southwest have been suffering over time since 2017, when this crisis started. For 4 years now, the Anglophones, the common man, have suffered. And I, sitting here, I cannot even go to my village because of crossfire and because of the fear of the unknown. Everybody's afraid. As we are seated here, going back home, our life is in our own hands. Only God can protect us. Nobody is safe. But we have seen cases where ministers have said in this country that there's no Anglophone problem. And then they came back to say there's an Anglophone problem, there's no honesty, people are not compromising, people are not honest to members of government in this country who have not been honest. We have seen situations where the Prime Minister and Head of Government, Chief Dr. John Gunte, have gone for peace talks to a greater extent. At the end of the day, the crisis was not solved, the problem has not been solved, a national dialogue was held, until today, more than a year, nothing fruitful, a special status that is not fruitful. We have heard of a situation where negotiation was ongoing in Yaoundé with the separatist leader, and then members of government come up and say it was just a showcase, nothing happened like that.
Yeah.
To say that there's a lot of foul and lies telling, and we are blaming both parties. We are blaming the government, we are blaming the separatists. The separatists have caused pain on the people. The government military also have caused pain on the people. So we are in the middle.
If you look at the report given by the Human Rights House, owned by Barrister Agbogbala, the respected Barrister Agbogbala, you realize that, you know, when these guys come and make some noise, the military come, the guys run into, they do a kind of hit and run.
A blame game.
But yes, but when this military comes, the people, the innocent people suffer
the effect. That's why I earlier said here that when two ghosts are fighting, the guys suffered. Mr. Moderator is the common man that always suffer, because when they fight, they run and go inside the bushes. Yeah. The military comes, anything that happens, some villages are being, houses are burned, assets are blazed, they intimidate innocent people, people are arbitrarily arrested. That's the situation we find ourselves. And we have seen cases where these separatist leaders also, they have caused their own pain on the people. So we should not only blame the government, but we should be able to blame the separatist leaders, because we have seen cases where separatist leaders abroad they are power mongers. Yeah. They are also fighting among themselves. We don't even know. Sako is saying this, this other one is saying this.
Okay.
There are many of them abroad, social leader presidents, making noise, and the common man back home is suffering. So in a nutshell, Mr. Moderator, there are different schools of thought. We have seen school of thoughts who are talking of the federation. We have seen school of thought who are talking of an independent Ambazonian country. We have seen school of thought who are talking of a unitary state like the government, because no government, or every government will always want to stand in for the independent sovereignty of the country, for the national integrity of the country. We have seen also other people, panelist members talking of a confederation. But at the end of the day, we have seen situations where a government minister said federation in this country was a taboo. So at the end of the day, what I can only end by saying is that we need an honest government. We need a separatist leaders that are harmonized to compromise, so that government can also plead that government can call for genuine dialogue, so that we sit in a round table and discuss our own problem. Because the United Nations under Antonio Guterres already called for ceasefire, but we have not seen any ceasefire. Thank you.
Mr. Njomo Siri, if you look at some of these excesses given by the human rights group led by Barrister Agbogbala, are some of these things reality, whereby, you know, like what we saw, so many of these separatists were arrested. And so they were arrested and brought, and we realized that if you look at the Mbororos, if you look at some of those who rear cows, so many of their cows were stolen. What surprises people is how possible that people come and steal hundreds of cows and run away with it without an alarm and succeed and go with it.
That can be understandable in the situation of fear, okay?
Maybe they pass on the roads where they know military always pass there.
The issue is not that those who are guiding the car were not totally aware that their cars were being stolen. But come to think that even if they were aware, they had the weapons to fight those who were invading their land. But I want to take the discussion a bit further.
Yeah.
To say it's a crisis that has brought so far some blessings, and in the larger extent,
cases,
more challenges. I would like to put it that way: more atrocity, more chaos. Let's talk about the positivity. Some few things he has been able to bring positive so far.
Okay.
The special status, the much talked special status that was given Badu in a monologue that took place in Yaoundé. But before that, the judiciary bench at the School of Magistracy in Yaoundé, the translation of the Ouada law, and the recruitment of 1,000 bilingual teachers. You can pick it here. That has benefited mostly the hegemony of the Anglophone origin in the Jacobin system. So to you, man of the peasant and all Anglophone descent, the native again in the constituency, nothing has changed but misery. Our houses now, we are living practically on the streets for those who have not migrated. And our brothers that have seek asylum abroad are even far more, they are going farther than us, because when we look at their picture on social media,
they are healthy.
We have the impression that asylum seeking and refugee status is not doing bad. And we are tempted to migrate all of us to other countries, maybe Cameroon. And it brings now the ugly part of the whole story. I follow an interview granted to Dr. Christopher Fomunyo by our own lady Mimi Mefu, and he was talking about shining the spotlight of development, and if truly the government was genuine in its reconstruction or peace building initiative, it could have been working along the development pathway that followed this process. First, the government needs to admit that truly there is a crisis. So far,
the government has admitted.
Well, you say they have admitted. Admission in my house when I have a litigation with my wife. Admitting, first of all, means I have to look at her and accept that truly, baby, I was wrong. If I cannot start from there, if I just start changing things, if she was asking for a shoe, I just come and buy a shoe and just come and deposit in her without talking to her.
The president said.
By, okay, so are you part of those who said the monologue that took place in Yaoundé?
We mean the president said
admission should go with a kind of reconciliation and forgiveness.
You start by
accepting.
You people
there's a problem.
There's a problem. Talk over it and you accept. Accepting also means that
have you talked with the people you are facing?
Okay, you are talking of actions now.
Actions.
Not words.
Talking with the Naira 10.
Okay.
And solving the problem.
Yes.
Okay, so we wish that truly the two conflicting parties, especially the major stakeholders, should sit together and chart way forward. Not that it's one man that sit back. I'm telling you, the monologue that took place in Yaoundé, Mr. Bia was at a stone throw from the conference, the Yaoundé Conference Center, and the Naira 10 were also 2 stones away at the maximum security prison at Konengi. But none of them deemed it necessary to come together. Those are the 3 major actors. Instead, they sent Chief Dr. John Gute to go and be spending funds. Some 15 billion have been coughed out, which I'm still asking myself, how did it benefit to the layman who is suffering from the untold misery that the crisis has caused over the 4 years? So, back to the real issue, please. The Norwegian refugee group is one of those groups that have lately come out with a report to say that the Anglophone crisis is one of the most neglected conflicts around the world. And they were supported by the Holocaust Museum, which is also a group that is specialized in tracking genocides and atrocity around the world. That have moved Cameroon from the last ranking position in 2019, September 2019, when Cameroon was at the 29th position, to the 9th position. This report date of last month.
Maybe regional blocks are waiting when it has skyrocketed.
But the crisis has also pushed discussion at the level of international and friends of Cameroon. You want to believe that in I think that was February 2020.
We are talking of intervention, like what happened in Mali. Maybe they were seated quiet until regional blocks started coming when it has reached a peak where it was not easy to solve.
Are we seeing the same debate? Because what I know about the regional bloc in Mali was that they came post. Well, they came when the street has already taken over, when there were already some challenges, and when they were already posing some obligation to Ibeka, and it was not the case. In Cameroon, we are seeing our houses.
30 seconds.
I don't even see how close they are.
30 seconds.
I don't know why you brought that distraction into
30
my
seconds.
discussion. Okay, to round up, I just want to say that as it stands, Cameroon, the Anglophone crisis has pushed much talk at the international level, and we are happy for that. And we are talking at the time that election in the US is going to affect the Anglophone crisis again, because whether you like it or not, if you take it from the era of Bush to Obama to Donald Trump, each time that the American have a policy for Africa, it either favor Cameroon or it is favor Cameroon. It is in the era of Donald Trump that we have had a lot of talk coming from Tibor, which is the under Secretary for Africa, the U.S. Under Secretary for Africa. He has talked, all his tweeted has given us favor because he has added a lot of weight on the discussion and even put pressure. We have also, there are some treaties like the AGOA treaty that Cameroon was sanctioned out of, and like that treaty, there are so many other, Dr. Busi here has benefited from a U.S. Training. I don't know, the Yali. And like that, there are so many Cameroonians that travel to the U.S. through diplomatic attention. So this crisis has brought to the limelight that some of these opportunities that the U.S. gives to Cameroon, even military-wise, were cut off, reduced to punish the Jacobin system. Hopefully, I think that more and more, even the accounts should be squeezed so that we should go down on our knees. Now, you'll be saying that, if I was patriotic, I should not stay down with my country. But no, I cannot be patriotic with Mr. Bia in the power. Please, he should move out of there. Then let us start building our country.
Dr. Busi, how can we curb some of these excesses?
We can solve some of these problems by being honest. Yeah. Honesty is one thing. By being assertive. Not being tribalistic. Mr. Moderator, I feel that what is keeping the Anglophone crisis not going, because some people are feeding fat. There are many people after this to be booked to justice. There are a lot of people who are feeding fat both with the government and the separatists, and they want this crisis to continue. Look at a separatist who have never seen 5 million, have seen 5 million. Do you think that the separatist leader or in ground zero want this crisis to end? You see a small young boy in the village now controlling the village with a gun, and then you and I cannot even go to the village. Do you think that's such? We need mental redefining of. We need a lot of counseling in this country, and this is a time I'll be advising the Cameroon government that these psychologists and counselors have a lot of role to play in this country. And we need also to work on the mental maps, the mental maps of our young people, because most of these people, the mind they used to have is not the same mind they are having now. The mind, they have revolutionized their mind with a lot, and we need a lot of care. Even if the crisis stops today, we need a lot of mind reformation among the military and the separatists, trust building within the military. A child sees a military car, a child that is clean, with no fear factor, the child starts running. And the military is supposed to be protecting the property and the people. But it's not all Cameroonians that have held guns.
Somebody said to end this crisis.
And guns can never solve problems.
Somebody said to end this crisis, we just need maybe a sentence from the President of the Republic.
The President can make a statement. It depends the kind of statement. You might say that, you might make a statement that is not favorable to everybody. The genuine way of solving there are ways of solving conflicts in every country. Conflict resolution has its own modus operandi, and you cannot just come like a president and say the crisis has ended. No, it doesn't work like that. You must sit on the negotiation table. You must sit on the dialogue table with those who are not compromising with you. You sit, you discuss the issues critically. We cannot solve this problem with the Naira 10 in prison. Release them. Forget about our egos, because all the two parties must forget about their shoulders. They must lower their shoulders. Mm-hmm. They call for a round table discussion, not a monologue like the major national dialogue. Yeah. We discuss the issues genuinely. We say that you talking about separatists, separation, give us the advantages and the disadvantages. When they give their own, you talking of federation, give your own modus operandi of federation. You talking of a united Cameroon, give your own modus operandi. At the end of the day, Mr. Moderator, there will be a solution and a way ahead for peace and justice.
Okay, we are ending this program. Somebody said to end this crisis is maybe in the hands of some of them who attended the meeting, especially in the times of the Paul Biya, the Njomas, and so on. So they just have to be sincere, and when they talk to Cameroonians, they know what is holding the Anglophones. And
there I totally agree with you that Mr. Biya was the rapporteur of the commission that Aijo then sent to the Northwest and the Southwest when the NCNC was still very much present to sensitize and collect the grievances that the people had at the time. And Mr. Bia, since then, he has been the one ruling over Cameroon. We are just suggesting to him to end this program, that he should go back to that cupboard, remove the very document that he himself supervised, and read out. Then he knows the decision to take. But you will permit me to tell the Yaoundé administration that to build institution on sandy soil is just preparing a collapse system. Yeah. And you know that. I don't know why you are rigmaroling with people life. You know, people life don't have duplicate. And you need to be very careful. You need to be very careful because truly, the ultimate goal can be valuable. But the process from A to B is as much important as the goal you want to achieve. If you use the wrong process, believe me, you will not only suffer people, but you will have post-traumatic, like doctor always like to put it, post-traumatic effect that can be dreadful, that can run over years, and which casualty could be minimized. And that is where Professor always comes to. The Messiah, the prophet, comes in. He comes in to buy time so that we don't have bloodshed in our country. Dr.
Busi, thank you so very much for respecting our invitation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
If we rule with care, we will need not to harm people with weapons.
Dear viewers of CMTV, viewers of Cross Views, this is where we come to today's to the end of today's program. I've been moderator Mwambo William. See you again next time. Thank you so very much for being faithful.